urban style individual.
What's up with y'all? Hopefully this video finds you in good spirits, and if not, well, at least you not DSP. And once again today, y'all going to be joining me on a little bit of a side quest. So what would we have here? Here we have what Phil used to call Hate Live. This is where viewers could actually call Phil directly and ask him questions. Now, my question for Phil is, the dents back then don't do nearly as much for you as the dents do now, but they got far more. How have the rewards somehow gotten worse over time? And on top of that, Phil, why are you not fielding questions in this format anymore? Don't you now have the technology to do it? So let's get into it.
There was a show called Hate Live, and Hate Live was when Philip would interact with people on Skype. And a few trolls got in. Some guys from the SOK one time got in there. I think Loophole got in there one time.
Loophole, yeah, that was brilliant.
But here is when Sidella called in, and I'm just playing from the history books. Here we go. This is for the history books.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, is anyone there?
Hey. Hello.
Hello, who is this? Who am I speaking with?
I am Alex.
Hello, Alex. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for calling in.
Now, as we're watching this, obviously this guy has a condition, but we're going over this to showcase these are the people that feel drawn to him, not only now, but even back then, right? And in the beginning of this video, I asked the question, I said, why is Phil no longer doing this? And part of the reason he's no longer doing it is because back at this time, you know, you have a larger audience, you have all walks of life coming to your content, and some of that will contain people who may have some mental conditions. But Phil over time started to learn that that was the whole of his audience, which is the primary reason why he'll never do this again.
You're welcome.
Any particular thing you'd like to talk about tonight?
Well, I want to say that you're doing a great job doing your past week.
So obviously, as you can hear, this gentleman has this situation going on. Let's see how Philip handles this situation is the key point.
Doing here, I love your content and I love Happy Rain. I was Happy Rain ever since. I like your content.
Heavy Rain really was his Thriller album, weren't it?
Compliment. I appreciate
It really was.
It really was.
What game?
That's hilarious because we know every time Phil gets a last minute don't know and they talking about this from a long time ago, they always reference Heavy Rain. He said that's his Thriller album. That's a good one. But Michael Jackson was one of one. Aside from what you may have believed that he might have done in his personal life, we can go there at any time. But aside from that, man, Mike was a generational talent. He was one of one. So it really does make me sick to my stomach sometimes when I hear people say this guy is the next Michael Jackson or somebody is approximating Michael Jackson. There's no such thing. Mike was uniquely talented. There's the only guy on earth that can stand on stage for 5 minutes doing nothing and accidentally hit people with fatalities, bro. It just is what it is. And when you actually look into his music and really listen to it, you'll see that he was a master at blending genres. He was great at that. You know, not to go off the beaten path, but yeah.
Yes, this is the guy that tried to threaten to hire someone to kill Tevin. Yes, that is the person.
Now you hear this particular peg or dent or whatever you want to call him. I guess this person was associated with wanting to unalive Tevin. Now just think about that.
So you must anticipating for this year.
That's a great question.
But there you go. This was Sidella. Okay, this is I can't handle it anymore.
Now, when the guy first got on the phone with DSP, did you hear the amount of admiration he had in his voice, the way he looked up to him, the way he was deifying Phil? It was almost as if he worshiped him. And this is what happens when people get in desperate situations. They're going to go and look for what's familiar to them. And this is why he continues to draw these type of people to him, because they believe that they are amongst their own kind, quote unquote. Seriously, because what the internet does is creates a cross section of society and cultures that otherwise would not meet or mingle. So you come across people in your everyday life being on the internet that 100 years ago you would have never heard of.
But there we go. This is
You could put like heavy metal under his like while the guy was talking because he was giving it some money.
Yeah.
Proper noggin there.
He's the guy that tried to get Tevin a hit on Tevin, anyways. But yeah, that's one of the callers here. Let's hear out Hazard. I remember that name, Hazard.
That it's been doing or something so that you're honest.
I saw it.
And now, before we get into the next one, I know some of y'all out there got all the lore, all right, about who these people are. I would really appreciate if you dropped a comment or something informing me on the particulars about these particular people that's in this video. Not the host, but the actual dents.
A dog who does that instead of that, you know.
Hey, Hazard. Who else we got?
See you later. Have a good night.
Let's hear the other
I agree with
questions.
you there. I actually think you're correct. Giving me these awesome positive messages. This is what keeps me going.
Oh, what's the awesome passive messages? What's the awesome positive messaging?
One thing I want y'all to pay attention to is, you know, and I'm not trying to get on anybody as far as body shaming them, even though I don't believe in that. You know, I believe in people correcting each other, especially if it's for the betterment. You know, that's how we get better. But this was Phil, what, in his late 20s, early 30s? The man boobs are clear, man. I mean, it's crazy. And so this tells you the spirit of gluttony that he really has, because Phil was getting all that money and he could have did a number of things with that. He could have got a gym membership. He could have got a personal trainer. He had more access to more resources than most people based on the resources he himself was bringing in, but he chose to put it all into his gluttony.
Okay.
What?
20 minutes past 3 in the morning.
Alan,
we go.
it's quite late there, isn't it?
Connor from Scotland.
Wow.
Uh-oh! Wow. You know who
KingJad.
this is? KingJad! You play guitar, KingJad? Pretty cool. All right, let's hear KingJad's message. Here we go.
Connor from Scotland. It's quite late there, isn't it?
Uh-huh. Go ahead. What's his take?
17 minutes past 3 in the morning.
Holy crap, you are up very late.
Always am.
You hear what DSP said? He said, you're up really late. And the guy said, always am. Now, isn't that a trait that they share with Phil? Isn't Phil always up late, early in the morning, combing the internet, trying to figure out what he can be triggered by next? And a lot of the reason why these people are like this is because they don't have no real obligations. All they have is time, right? So they start to pour into people on the internet, thinking that somehow that's going to turn into something favorable for them. And on top of that, as we examine Phil and what he has going on, we must also convict ourselves, because a lot of the reason why this is happening to these people is because they're isolated, right? And many of us have someone in our family that may be suffering from similar conditions that we haven't talked to, we haven't texted, we ain't sent them a party invite on Xbox in the longest time. You feel what I'm saying? So, I mean, we just got to do better overall. This is sad.
So what's
Always
going on?
am.
Say that, you know, I've been following you since like 2009, and you've had a hell of a ride.
It's true.
You've been hated on. You've been up and down.
2014, by the way, for reference.
Heavy rain highs, and you've had
Heavy rain.
lows.
Heavy rain highs.
Yes.
Positive standing, and I really got to say I appreciate that. You really helped me to deal with a lot of things in my own social life over the past.
I know he's really quiet. I'm boosting it.
Being the most awesome person I've ever found on the internet and the most genuine guy that.
Wow.
So, thanks.
Well, that's high praise.
Do you seem like two guys? What the fuck? Most genuine person I've ever seen, but I have only seen two people.
Is this the only channel you think is on YouTube? That's how people thought, though, guys. He's the most honest and genuine guy on YouTube, is what that person just said.
And let me just say this real quick. If you are isolated or alone like these people, one of the worst things you can do is go on the internet. Seriously. Now, I know in today's day and age, you know, the internet is basically built into our lives. We have to deal with it to some degree, but I'm talking about the social aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? What you should be doing is looking inwardly, looking how you can improve yourself. And that's going to give you the courage you need to move on to accomplish other tasks. And once you accomplish those tasks, that will build even more courage within you to tackle even harder tasks. And that's how, you know, ultimately you build your self-esteem. It's not from what happens outwardly. It's what happens inwardly. But it starts with us. We got to be honest with ourselves.
Insane.
Because that's how he tried to paint himself during that period. Like, I give it to you straight. I give it to you honest. If a game's crap, I'll call it crap.
If you get someone that young and like for some reason they think you're cool, I think you can convince. That kind of pig noses might work, right? If you
can get to their parents' credit cards within a few steps. Yeah.
Of a lesser constitution, mentally, you might say, "Oh well."
Yeah, that is true. When people are young, particularly when they're children, your minds are very impressionable. That's why it's so important for you to make sure that if you do have children, that you are something that they would like to model themselves after, because they will be paying attention to something. You just better make sure that they're paying attention to you. Real talk.
He said he's the most real guy on the internet. That's pretty fucking cool. Yeah,
that
sounds
Has
good.
anyone here watched his Heavy Rain playthrough? Is it like got subliminal messaging in it? Maybe he just goes, honest guy,
Flashes
honest guy,
like
just pops up.
money, honest, hardworking.
Occasional one frame flash of yeah. Donate now.
Pretty cool.
No, that's it for that. But I seen this clip and I thought to myself, wow. There was a point in time where Phil was actually trying to at least engage with his audience in a meaningful way that could be something that was memorable, because for a lot of these people, they do look up to Phil. And I'm sure even to this day, this guy in this clip here and the other one that was on the line, they remember these phone calls, and it could be as corny as you would like it to be. But for a lot of these people, this is the baseball player that was leaving the field and they threw their used glove to him. You know what I'm saying? As crazy as that sounds, that's what it is. But even more importantly than that, this is some insight into who Phil has been attracting to him. And over time, you cannot convince me that Phil did not have knowledge of this, and he started to curate the way he do things to appease this type of audience in particular, understanding that he is more likely to be able to siphon from them than he could from the normal person. So even the per capita, it's not a good thing. He understands if he gets a certain type of person, he can get far more out of them. It's like a cash cow. It's almost like when you look at boxing, only the guys at the top make the big money. Everybody else is, got to get a second job or got other hustles or something. And you can say what you want to say about Phil, but he is cunning when it comes to things like this. As crazy as it is and as deceptive as this is, he's been keeping this going for almost 2 decades. And this is why we detract Phil. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Urban style content. I'm dead.